Indeed. We'll get to it. Hunter Paisami and Lucan, just on those two, would they have been in the test had it not been postponed by a week?
Yeah, probably. Their partners are due on the first and beyond. So they both came here originally and have since left.
Sure. Okay. Just the extra week, extra 8 days, really. Does that help or hinder, or how does that change the dynamics for this Wallaby squad?
Oh, look, I mean, you just got to deal with it, don't you? So what we know is we've got 5 big weeks in a row now. And we'll head over to Brisbane straight after the game on Sunday, so we'll head over Monday. So that's a reasonably short turnaround. But so we gave the boys a few days off at the start of a week, knowing that the next period is going to be pretty intense.
Yeah. Do you think that those extra 5 days will actually benefit the side in terms of just a bit more to kind of get their head around things? And still, it's a young side that's just come off the back of two matches at Eden Park.
Yeah, look, we had a pretty brutal review, as we should do. We did a lot of good things in that test, but not for long enough, and just made too many errors and gave their key playmakers time and space, and we knew that heading in that would be fatal. So we've got to be better. So to leak that many points, that's all the focus, and not on maybe some of the good things we did. So we've got to be better, and we've done a bit of work around that.
And just with the dynamics with Hunter, he's obviously started 5 tests straight this year. How that changes the dynamics, perhaps Samu Karevi comes in, but do you foresee any other kind of big changes, or is it more just continuing to back what you've backed for the last couple of tests, really?
Yeah, we've always said that we're going to select on performance, and there's a big chunk of guys performed pretty well in that game, certainly in the first 40-odd minutes, and we'll pick based on guys who've earned the right to be in the squad, and so there's likely to be a couple of changes.
Dave, how has Samu looked since you've got a first look at him close up? Speaking of Walshy about how he transitioned from 15s to 7s, he said it's the best he's ever seen. I know he only did 7s program for whatever it was, a month or so, but how have you seen the transition back to the 15s?
Look, he's been excellent. Like Quade, he's an experienced man who is contributing really well. He's has a fair bit to get your head around, of course, and he's been excellent, and he's obviously played over in Suntory. Good mate of mine, Jason Halloran, coaches over there. He gave me some really positive feedback around Samu's, his preparation and the detail around trying to be better each day, and we're seeing evidence of that in our squad.
He obviously one of the reasons you guys love playing Hunter is he's got that second sort of ball playing ability. That was always something that was, I suppose, somewhat of a criticism of Samu. Have you seen that develop since Australians haven't seen him up close since 19? Are you seeing that develop now in camp?
Yeah, and I know he's done a lot of work on it at Suntory, so he certainly worked on his kicking game, on his distribution, and as we know, he can be direct. He's got an ability to offload beyond the tackle, and and I know he's worked really hard on his defensive side of his game, and so it's been a real credit to him.
Dave, with Hunter and Lucan being out, the All Blacks have also left some heavy hitters at home for similar reason. So does that change anything, looking at those guys that they've left behind, does that change anything in how you approach this test?
You leave out the players they have and you replace them with other world-class players, don't you? So, their depth's amazing, and we know that, and so it doesn't change a hell of a lot, to be honest.
I was going to say, on George going back to Melbourne and bringing Fletty in, is there any particular reason he's gone back home?
Yeah, well, Fletty was an original part of our squad. Got injured very early, unfortunately, and it's been a long road to recovery. When we were in Brisbane, we sent him back here to quarantine in the hope that he might be available for the All Black Test to be played here, and we brought Geordie in as a replacement. So now that Fletty's right, Geordie's exited and Fletty's joined us this week.
Dave, Quade Cooper, we all love to talk about Quade, don't we? But there's been suggestions in the past that he's not always been the best tourist, and that how you manage a squad is obviously a big thing. And when you've got big personalities like Quade too, how much longer do you expect to have him in the Rugby Championship squad? And do you plan on using him perhaps off the bench?
Excellent questions. Look, he's been fantastic in the group. Can't speak highly enough of him. Even when we had a few days off at the front of the week, he was driving a lot of the training and additional stuff that a number of the boys were doing out in the field here or down at the gym. He's been a big contributor to all meetings and discussions and prepared to share his knowledge, and he's trained really well. And so his ability for pass selection or kicking options has been spot on, and it's been really good from a training perspective for us. He's pretty much been running the New Zealand play. So look, he's been great, and he's applying pressure on us for selection.
Is it also a case that you I'm sure you get to see how these guys go at training and you go, okay, well, they're clearly good enough to play, but until you see the foreign-based players actually play and see how it works when you integrate them back, you almost need to discover that on a test playing environment to really know where they're at?
Oh, look, potentially. All the games that we're playing in this year, we've had a tough French series. Into our third All Black Test, you go into a rugby championship, and then we tour over the other side of the world, and we're probably playing 80% of the top 10 sides in the world. So that's great from our perspective, and we're going to learn a lot. But we've got a pretty big squad. We train against each other daily, I wouldn't say they're brutal, maybe at times, but they're certainly combative and competitive, and so we're getting a pretty good idea of where Quade and others are at.
Just on the playmaking spots, Dave, will James O'Connor join you as soon as you guys head back to Queensland? Where's he at with his? I know obviously his difficulties getting him into Perth, but how's he travelling with the constant injury troubles he's had this year?
Yeah, he's going pretty well. We expect him to rejoin the squad once we get back to Brisbane, and not certain that he'll be available for that first test against South Africa, but he'll be pretty close.
Hey Dave, Ollie here from TV3 in New Zealand. Do you expect a bit of an extra edge to this third test, given the sort of war of words that have played out off the field and everything that's been part of that build-up? Do you expect a bit of an extra edge come kick-off next weekend?
Oh, I'm not sure about extra edge. We're not necessarily using it as motivation, but a lot of the disappointment for us is, what we knew is that the Rugby Championship was going to be played somewhere in the world on the 12th of September. The All Blacks committed to play us originally on the 21st and then on the 28th. And had they come over here, what we knew is that on the 29th, we're all jumping on a plane and heading somewhere in the world. And whether that was Brisbane, whether that was South Africa, or whether that was the UK. And so from that perspective, we felt they should have got on the plane and come over and fulfilled their commitment. So, but anyway, look, they're here now. It's I know there's a lot of people in Perth really excited about the opportunity. I spoke at a luncheon last week, and there were 600 people there. We all went around Club Rugby last week, and it was really well supported, and so there's a real good feel here. And as you know, a lot of Kiwis living in Perth are all keen to see the All Blacks, and so should still be a really good occasion.
A few of the All Blacks yesterday, before they left, thought they would probably be heading into a bit of a hostile environment over in Perth. Is that the sort of environment you want them to be walking into? Is that what you want from the Perth crowd and also from your guys out of the field?
Oh, look, I thought we were really physical for the first half last time we played them, and but it's not long enough to play against the All Blacks. So we want to build on that. There's plenty of motivating factors, and the biggest one is the scoreline last time we played. So, as we've talked about, we really respect the All Blacks. We're excited by the opportunity to get another crack at them.
So just lastly from me, Richie Mo'unga, one of those players that is not travelling for this game, the birth of his second child. Beauden Barrett's only started one test at first five in the last 3 years for the All Blacks. Is that an area you look to target? I mean, I know he's a world-class player, but just given the lack of game time he's had at first five at an international level, is that an area you guys will look to target?
Oh, he was voted best player in the world a couple of years in a row, wasn't he? He played a lot of 10 at Suntory, and he's played an enormous amount of 10 over a lot of years, and a lot of that at Test footy. So, look, there's no secret of it. You've got to be able to shut down their 9 and 10, make it difficult for them to get their game going, and we've tried to do that with Richie and with Aaron. It'll be the same with Bodie and whoever they play at 9.
Dave, Alex McLeod here from RugbyPass over in New Zealand. The All Blacks have only achieved a 50% winning record in Australia against the Wallabies over the past decade. You talk about hostile environments, or that's been mentioned, hostile environments. Do you think that or anything else in particular makes it so particularly difficult for the All Blacks to win against the Wallabies in Australia?
Oh, God, who knows, eh? I mean, obviously, home crowds help, don't they? So, we're hoping there's still going to be 60,000 in the crowd. There's certainly, on the 21st and the 28th, they were both sellouts. And with the game being a Sunday afternoon, I'm not certain how that will play out. But, I think we've done a pretty good job while we've been here connecting with the people, and I hope they come out in big numbers, and there's plenty of support for us. But it should be a hell of an occasion. Optus Stadium's an amazing venue.
I was going to say, Dave, we saw, as you mentioned sort of last week, going back to Clubland. I think you guys are doing the same tomorrow. What do you get out of those sort of visits back to those sort of clubs around WA as a group?
Oh, look, I think it's twofold, really. And most people would assume it's us going out there. It's great for the kids and the people that we connect with, and there's a bit of truth in that. But it's really good for our guys. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to connect with fans and supporters, for well over a year. So it gives you an understanding of how much support there is out there for us, how much they appreciate the guys getting out and connecting, and so our team really enjoyed last weekend, and we'll get out and do a bit more tomorrow.
Last couple online things, guys.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. Perhaps just Isaac Rodder. He hasn't featured in the test side of yours yet, Dave. Do you now that he's a force player as well? Is it a strong likelihood that he might feature in this 23?
Yeah, well, obviously Lucan's gone home as well, so that maybe increases the odds. But he's going well. He's worked really hard. He came back from France and then into COVID, to quarantine. So he probably wasn't quite where he would have been when he left, and he's worked really hard on his conditioning and his agility and power, and he's starting to make good shifts.